Imagine this. You're in line at a crowded coffee shop, running late for work, and the person ahead of you is taking an eternity to order. Frustration starts to rise as the seconds tick by. But take a step back and ask yourself, can you control their pace? Can you stop time from moving forward? The answer is no. What you can control, however, is your reaction, your inner dialogue, and how you choose to use those waiting moments. This shift in focus lies at the core of Stoic philosophy. It's a practical approach that teaches us to prioritize what truly matters and let go of the rest. Stay with us as we explore how this perspective can reshape your life. And don't forget to subscribe and watch until the end to discover valuable insights to bring calm and clarity into your daily challenges. The Stoics believed that life is divided into two realms, things we can control and things we cannot. This principle, often called the dichotomy of control, is as relevant today as it was over 2,000 years ago. By understanding and applying this idea, you can transform your life. You'll learn to navigate challenges with clarity, peace, and purpose. So today, we're diving deep into this timeless concept. We'll explore the wisdom of the Stoics, share practical examples, and provide actionable steps to help you integrate this principle into your daily life. Let's start with a question. How often do you find yourself worrying about things you can't change? Perhaps it's a colleague's behavior, the weather on your vacation, or even global events. These worries drain your energy and rob you of joy. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, put it plainly: some things are up to us, and some things are not. This single sentence holds the key to a more focused and peaceful life. So, what are the things within our control? The Stoics identified them clearly: our thoughts, our actions, our decisions, and our attitudes. Everything else, other people's opinions, external events, and even the outcomes of our efforts, falls outside our control. When we direct our energy toward what we can control, we empower ourselves. When we obsess over what we cannot, we suffer needlessly. This distinction is simple but profound. To bring this concept to life, let's look at Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher. As a ruler, Marcus faced enormous challenges, including wars, political betrayals, and even a devastating plague. Despite this, he remained composed and focused. In his journal, which we now know as Meditations, he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Marcus understood that he couldn't control external chaos, but he could control how he responded to it. His ability to stay grounded in this principle allowed him to lead effectively, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. Now think about your own life. Maybe you're dealing with a difficult boss or struggling to meet a deadline. It's natural to feel frustrated, but ask yourself, what can you control in this situation? You can't control your boss's attitude, but you can control your work ethic, your communication, and your mindset. By focusing on these areas, you not only reduce your stress, but also improve your performance. This is the power of Stoicism in action. Let's take another example. Relationships. Relationships can be a significant source of joy, but also of stress. You can't control how someone else feels or behaves, no matter how much you want to. But you can control how you communicate, how you set boundaries, and how you respond to conflict. By focusing on your actions rather than trying to control someone else's, you cultivate healthier and more fulfilling relationships. Epictetus's life is a powerful testament to this principle. Born a slave, he could have spent his life in bitterness and resentment. Instead, he focused on what he could control, his thoughts and his choices. Through philosophy, he achieved a level of freedom and contentment that transcended his external circumstances. His teachings remind us that true freedom is found not in our external conditions, but in our inner world. At this point, you might be wondering how to apply these ideas in your own life. Let's start with a simple exercise. Each evening, take 5 minutes to reflect on your day. Write down one situation that caused you stress or frustration. Then ask yourself, was this within my control? If it wasn't, think about how you can let go of similar As you go about your day, make it a point to pause whenever you feel overwhelmed. Ask yourself, is this within my control? This question serves as a mental reset, helping you direct your energy where it's most effective. For instance, if you're stuck in traffic, you can't control the cars ahead of you, but you can control your reaction. You can choose to listen to a podcast, practice deep breathing, or simply accept the situation with patience. These small choices add up, shaping a more peaceful and purposeful life. The next step in understanding control is learning to detach emotionally from outcomes. The Stoics emphasized this repeatedly. They taught that while we should give our best effort to any task, we must detach from the results because outcomes are often influenced by factors beyond our control. Imagine preparing thoroughly for a job interview. You've done your research, practiced your answers, and presented yourself professionally. Yet, despite all this effort, you don't get the job. It's easy to feel disheartened, but Stoicism reminds us that your efforts are within your control. The decision of the employer is not. The key is to focus on doing your best and accepting the outcome as it comes. This mindset frees you from unnecessary disappointment and keeps you grounded in what truly matters, your actions and intentions. Marcus Aurelius exemplified this principle when he dealt with the betrayal of close allies during his reign. Instead of spiraling into bitterness or vengeful plotting, he reflected on what he could do to maintain stability and justice. He understood that while he couldn't change their actions, he could control his response. This approach not only preserved his peace of mind, but also upheld the integrity of his leadership. His writings reveal a man who mastered the art of focusing on his duties, rather than lamenting the behavior of others. Let's bring this idea closer to everyday life. Consider the realm of personal health. You may strive to eat healthy, exercise regularly, and get enough sleep. These actions are within your control. However, you can't always control the onset of illness or unforeseen health issues. This doesn't mean you shouldn't try to live healthily. Quite the opposite. It means doing your best and accepting that some factors will always be beyond your influence. This perspective reduces the stress of striving for perfect health and helps you appreciate the efforts you're making without attaching to unattainable guarantees. A practical way to integrate this principle into your life is to create a control inventory. At the start of each week, list your top concerns or goals. Then, categorize them into 2 columns: things I can control and things I cannot control. For example, if your goal is to improve your performance at work, you can control your punctuality, your preparation, and your focus during tasks. However, you cannot control your boss's feedback or the company's policies. By visually separating these aspects, you train your mind to focus only on what's actionable. Another area where the dichotomy of control is transformative is parenting. As a parent, you want the best for your children. You try to guide them, teach them, and protect them. But as they grow, you realize you can't control every choice they make. You can't shield them from every failure or disappointment. What you can control is the love and support you provide, the values you instill, and the example you set. Accepting this reality doesn't mean you care less. It means you focus your energy on being the best parent you can be, rather than trying to micromanage outcomes. The Stoics often emphasize the idea of preparing for the worst, while hoping for the best. Seneca practiced this through an exercise called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. He would imagine worst-case scenarios and reflect on how he could respond. This practice wasn't about pessimism. It was about building resilience. By mentally preparing for challenges, you reduce their emotional impact if they occur. For instance, if you're planning an outdoor event, you might imagine what you'd do if it rains. You could prepare by having a backup indoor location. This doesn't mean you expect rain, but if it happens, you're ready and unfazed. Let's pause for a moment to reflect. Think about a situation in your life that's causing you stress or worry. Identify which aspects of that situation are within your control and which are not. For example, if you're worried about an upcoming exam, you can control your study habits, the amount of rest you get, and your level of focus. but you can't control the difficulty of the test or the grading criteria. By separating these factors, you gain clarity and reduce unnecessary anxiety. Take a few moments to consider this. Another critical aspect of mastering the dichotomy of control is learning to let go of attachment to outcomes. We live in a results-driven society where success is often measured by achievements, accolades, or recognition. However, the Stoics teach us that focusing on the process rather than the outcome is where true fulfillment lies. Imagine a writer working on a novel. They can control the time and effort they put into crafting their story, the quality of their writing, and their dedication to the process. But they cannot control how readers will perceive their work or whether it becomes a bestseller. By shifting the focus to the effort rather than the result, the writer experiences greater joy and satisfaction in the act of creation. This approach doesn't diminish ambition. It simply redirects it toward what truly matters, giving your best in every moment. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of mental discipline. Training your mind to focus only on what you can control requires practice. One effective method is mindfulness. When you find your thoughts drifting toward uncontrollable factors, gently bring them back to the present moment. For instance, if you're worrying about how a presentation at work will be received, shift your focus to preparing thoroughly and practicing your delivery. By anchoring yourself in actionable steps, you reduce anxiety and boost your confidence. Mindfulness isn't about ignoring challenges. It's about grounding yourself in what's real and manageable. Seneca provides another timeless insight. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. This quote highlights how much of our stress and anxiety stems from imagining worst-case scenarios or obsessing over things beyond our control. Let's take an example. You're waiting for the results of a medical test. The outcome is entirely out of your hands, yet your mind races with what-if scenarios. In this moment, you have a choice. You can let your imagination spiral into worry, or you can focus on what's within your control, like preparing questions for your doctor or researching potential next steps. This shift in focus not only eases your mind, but also empowers you to handle the situation more effectively. Another way to embody the Stoic principle of control is through gratitude. When you focus on what you can control, you naturally begin to appreciate the small, consistent efforts that improve your life. Gratitude shifts your perspective from what's missing to what's present. For example, you might not be able to control the weather, but you can choose to enjoy the beauty of a rainy day by curling up with a good book or taking a moment to listen to the sound of raindrops. Gratitude reinforces the idea that life's richness often lies in how we respond to its unpredictability. The dichotomy of control also plays a significant role in how we handle failure. Everyone experiences setbacks, but how we interpret and respond to them makes all the difference. Suppose you've worked tirelessly on a project, but it doesn't achieve the success you hoped for. You can't control the external circumstances that contributed to this outcome, but you can control how you reflect on the experience, what you learn from it, and how you move forward. Failure, when viewed through a Stoic lens, becomes an opportunity for growth rather than a source of despair. Let's explore a real-world example. Athletes often embody the Stoic principle of control, whether they realize it or not. During a game, a basketball player can't control the referee's calls, the opponent's strategy, or even the crowd's reaction. What they can control is their focus, effort, and attitude on the court. This mindset allows them to stay composed under pressure and perform at their best. Similarly, in life, we're all players in a game where external factors are unpredictable. By concentrating on what's within our sphere of influence, we enhance our ability to succeed. The Stoics were also advocates of simplifying life. They believed that many of our struggles stem from overcomplicating situations by focusing on things we can't control. Simplification involves stripping away unnecessary worries and distractions. For instance, if you're planning a party, you can control the guest list, the menu, and the decorations. But you can't control whether everyone will have a good time or if it will rain on the day of an outdoor event. By simplifying your focus to the things you can manage, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and create space for enjoyment. This idea of simplicity extends to how we approach decision-making. When faced with a tough choice, consider this. What aspects of the decision are within your control? Focus on those and let go of the rest. For example, if you're deciding whether to apply for a new job, you can control how you update your resume, prepare for the interview, and present yourself. But you can't control whether the hiring manager will choose you over other candidates. By focusing on what you can influence, you reduce decision-making anxiety and increase your chances of success. Another practical way to embody the Stoic principle of control is through the art of reframing. Reframing is the practice of changing your perspective on a situation to focus on its positive or controllable aspects. For example, imagine you lose your job. While the initial reaction might be panic or despair, reframing allows you to see the situation as an opportunity. Perhaps this is your chance to pursue a new career path, develop skills you've always wanted to learn, or take a much-needed break to reassess your priorities. By reframing challenges as opportunities, you shift your energy toward productive actions rather than dwelling on what's beyond your control. This mindset isn't about ignoring difficulties, but about choosing a perspective that empowers you. The Stoics often practiced voluntary discomfort as a way to strengthen their resilience. Seneca, for instance, would spend a few days each month living as though he had lost everything. He wore simple clothing, ate the bare minimum, and reflected on how little he actually needed to be content. This exercise served two purposes. It reminded him of what was within his control, his mindset and actions, and it prepared him for adversity. By simulating worst-case scenarios, he reduced their power to cause fear. You can practice this too. Try going a day without your usual comforts, like skipping your morning coffee or leaving your phone at home. Notice how you adapt and how much of your well-being comes from within, rather than external circumstances. Let's take a deeper look at the role of control in managing relationships. Relationships are complex, and much of what happens in them lies beyond your control. You can't dictate how someone else feels, thinks, or behaves. However, you can control how you approach the relationship. You can choose to listen with empathy, express your needs clearly, and respect boundaries. When conflicts arise, focus on your role in resolving them rather than trying to force the other person to change. This doesn't mean you accept bad behavior. It means you focus on your actions and responses. By doing so, you create an environment that encourages mutual respect and understanding, even if the relationship doesn't turn out as you hoped. The Stoics were also acutely aware of the role of nature in our lives. They believed that aligning with nature's flow is a key part of accepting what we cannot control. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on this in his writings, reminding himself that everything in life follows the natural order. Seasons change, people age, and events unfold as they will. Fighting against this reality only creates suffering. Instead, we can embrace the natural order by focusing on how we interact with the world. For instance, if a storm disrupts your travel plans, you can't control the weather, but you can control how you use that time. Perhaps you read a book, catch up on work, or spend time connecting with loved ones. By flowing with life's natural rhythms, you find peace in the midst of uncertainty. Another area where the dichotomy of control is profoundly impactful is in managing personal ambition. Ambition is often seen as a driving force for success, but unchecked ambition can lead to stress and dissatisfaction. The Stoics teach us to temper ambition with acceptance. For example, you might set a goal to achieve a promotion at work. You can control your effort, the quality of your work, and how you position yourself for opportunities. But you can't control the company's decisions, economic conditions, or office politics. By focusing on doing your best and letting go of the uncontrollable, you maintain your ambition without being consumed by it. This balance allows you to pursue your goals with clarity and purpose. Let's turn our attention to failure. Failure is often viewed as a negative experience, but the Stoics saw it differently. They believed failure is an opportunity to learn and grow. Epictetus said, "Difficulties are things that show a person what they are." When you fail, you can't control the outcome, but you can control how you interpret and respond to it. Imagine a student who fails an exam. Instead of viewing it as a personal shortcoming, they can analyze what went wrong. Perhaps they need to manage their study time better or seek additional help. By focusing on these actionable steps, they turn failure into a stepping stone for success. The Stoics also understood the importance of controlling your environment. While you can't always choose where you live or work, you can control how you arrange and interact with your surroundings. A cluttered, chaotic space can lead to a cluttered, chaotic mind. On the other hand, creating an organized, calming environment can enhance focus and peace. Take time to assess your surroundings. Are there areas where you can exercise control to improve your well-being? Perhaps it's as simple as decluttering your desk or setting up a dedicated space for relaxation. These small actions remind you of the power you have to shape your environment. Gratitude is another powerful way to reinforce the Stoic principle of focusing on what you can control. When you practice gratitude, you shift your focus from what's missing to what you already have. For instance, instead of lamenting a missed opportunity, you might express gratitude for the lessons it taught you. Gratitude isn't about ignoring challenges. It's about recognizing the good within them. Each day, take a moment to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. By doing this consistently, you train your mind to seek positivity and resilience even in difficult times. One of the most empowering aspects of Stoicism is the realization that your happiness depends not on external circumstances, but on your internal state. The Stoics believe that true contentment comes from living in harmony with nature and aligning your actions with virtue. This means focusing on being the best version of yourself, regardless of what happens around you. Imagine someone losing a prized possession. While the loss itself may feel significant, the Stoic approach teaches us that the object was never truly ours. It was merely something we had the privilege to use for a time. By reframing our attachment to possessions, we free ourselves from the emotional burden of loss. This principle extends beyond material things to relationships, careers, and even our health. Another critical application of the dichotomy of control is in handling criticism. Criticism, whether constructive or harsh, is an inevitable part of life. While you can't control what others say about you, you can control how you perceive and respond to their words. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth." This mindset transforms criticism into an opportunity for growth. Instead of reacting defensively, take a moment to evaluate the feedback. Is there truth in it? If so, use it to improve. If not, let it go. Remember, their opinion is outside your control, but your reaction is entirely up to you. Stoicism also teaches us the value of impermanence. Everything in life is transient. Our possessions, our relationships, even our own lives. This might seem like a grim realization, but for the Stoics, it was a source of liberation. Epictetus reminded us, "Never say about anything, 'I have lost it,' but only, 'I have given it back.'" By embracing impermanence, we learn to cherish the present moment and release our grip on things we cannot keep forever. For instance, instead of worrying about when a happy phase of life will end, focus on savoring it fully. This mindset allows you to experience life with greater depth and appreciation. In the realm of decision-making, the Stoic principle of control offers invaluable clarity. When faced with a difficult choice, it's common to feel paralyzed by fear of making the wrong decision. However, the Stoics remind us to focus on the factors within our control. Start by gathering all the relevant information and weighing your options carefully. Once you've made your decision, release your attachment to the outcome. Whether it leads to success or failure, you can take comfort in knowing that you acted to the best of your ability. This approach not only reduces anxiety, but also strengthens your confidence in your ability to navigate life's uncertainties. The Stoics also believed in the power of community and shared humanity. While you can't control how others behave, you can control how you contribute to the collective well-being. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the interconnectedness of humanity, writing, "What injures the hive injures the bee." This perspective encourages us to act with kindness and integrity, even when others do not. For example, in a conflict, you can choose to respond with patience and understanding rather than anger. By focusing on your own actions, you set a positive example and help foster harmony within your community. This doesn't mean tolerating injustice. It means addressing issues with wisdom and compassion. One area where the dichotomy of control can have an immediate impact is in managing daily stress. Modern life is filled with pressures, deadlines, financial concerns, and constant connectivity through technology. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of demands. But when you apply Stoic principles, you realize that much of this stress stems from trying to control the uncontrollable. For instance, you might worry about meeting a tight deadline at work. While you can't control the amount of time available, you can control how you prioritize tasks and allocate your energy. By focusing on what you can do rather than what you can't, you transform stress into action. Let's reflect on the role of resilience in Stoicism. Resilience is the ability to recover from setbacks and adapt to challenges. The Stoics believed that resilience comes from recognizing your power over your mind. For example, if you experience a personal failure, you can dwell on the disappointment or view it as an opportunity to learn and grow. Resilience doesn't mean ignoring pain or difficulty. It means using them as stepping stones towards strength and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This quote reminds us that obstacles are not barriers but opportunities to practice resilience. Another key lesson from Stoicism is the importance of living in the present moment. Much of our anxiety comes from ruminating on the past or worrying about the future, two things entirely outside our control. The Stoics encourage us to focus on the here and now, where our actions and decisions have the most impact. For example, if you're spending time with loved ones, be fully present with them rather than letting your mind wander to tomorrow's to-do list. This practice not only deepens your relationships but also enhances your overall sense of fulfillment. After all, the present is the only moment we truly have. One of the most challenging aspects of Stoicism is applying the principle of control during moments of crisis. In times of loss, failure, or adversity, it's natural to feel overwhelmed. The Stoics understood this and developed strategies to maintain composure. One of these strategies is the idea of shifting perspective. Imagine someone facing a financial setback. Instead of viewing the loss as the end of their stability, a Stoic would reframe it as a challenge to rebuild and an opportunity to learn resourcefulness. By focusing on what they can do, like budgeting wisely or seeking new opportunities, they turn adversity into a stepping stone for growth. The practice of gratitude can also help anchor you during difficult times. When faced with a challenge, pause to reflect on what remains within your control and what you can still appreciate. For instance, if you're dealing with a health issue, you might focus on the support of loved ones, access to care, or the inner strength you're building through the experience. This shift doesn't deny the difficulty of the situation, but acknowledges that even in hardship, there are aspects of life to be grateful for. Gratitude cultivates resilience by reminding us that there's always something worth cherishing. The Stoic approach to control also teaches us to balance ambition with acceptance. Ambition drives us to pursue goals, push boundaries, and strive for improvement. However, unchecked ambition can lead to frustration when outcomes don't align with expectations. The key is to channel ambition into actions within your control. For example, if you're working toward a promotion, focus on delivering excellent work, building strong relationships, and developing your skills. At the same time, accept that the final decision isn't yours to make. This balance allows you to pursue success without being consumed by it, creating a sense of fulfillment regardless of the outcome. let's delve into the power of practicing acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation or passivity. It means acknowledging reality as it is and responding accordingly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." This philosophy encourages us to embrace life's unpredictability with grace. For instance, if your travel plans are disrupted, acceptance allows you to adapt without unnecessary stress. Instead of lamenting the disruption, you might explore alternative options or simply enjoy the unexpected change of pace. This mindset not only reduces frustration, but also opens the door to unexpected opportunities. The dichotomy of control is also a powerful tool for navigating social dynamics. Whether it's dealing with difficult colleagues, managing friendships, or resolving family conflicts, relationships often involve factors beyond our control. You can't control how others think or behave, but you can control your own actions and attitudes. For instance, if a friend lets you down, you can't change their behavior, but you can choose to communicate openly, set boundaries, or adjust your expectations. By focusing on your role in the relationship, you maintain your integrity and preserve your peace of mind, regardless of the outcome. Stoicism also provides valuable insights for cultivating patience. Patience is the ability to endure delays, setbacks, or challenges without losing composure. In today's fast-paced world, patience is often in short supply. The Stoics believe that cultivating patience begins with understanding what's within your control. For example, if you're waiting in a long line, you can't control how quickly it moves, but you can control how you spend that time. Instead of becoming frustrated, you might use the moment to practice mindfulness, plan your day, or even strike up a conversation with someone nearby. Patience transforms waiting from a source of irritation into an opportunity for growth. Another practical application of Stoic principles is in goal setting. When setting goals, it's essential to focus on the process rather than the outcome. For example, if your goal is to write a book, the outcome, publishing and reception, is outside your control. However, the process, setting a writing schedule, dedicating time each day, and refining your craft, is entirely within your influence. By concentrating on the process, you not only increase your chances of success, but also find joy in the journey. The Stoics remind us that the effort we put into our pursuits is far more significant than the accolades we might receive. Reflecting on death is another profound aspect of Stoicism. While the topic may seem somber, the Stoics viewed it as an essential part of living well. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This reflection isn't meant to incite fear, but to encourage urgency and purpose. By accepting the inevitability of death, we are reminded to focus on what we can control in the time we have, our actions, our values, and the legacy we leave behind. This perspective helps us live more intentionally, appreciating each moment as a gift. As we approach the conclusion, let's reflect on how the dichotomy of control applies to everyday life. Each decision, interaction, and challenge offers an opportunity to practice Stoic principles. By focusing on what you can control and letting go of the rest, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and create space for growth, peace, and fulfillment. This doesn't mean life becomes easy or free of challenges. It means you approach those challenges with a clear mind and a resilient heart. Remember, the power lies not in changing the world, but in changing how you respond to it. The dichotomy of control is not just a philosophical concept. It's a practical tool for building emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is the ability to remain calm and composed in the face of adversity. For instance, imagine receiving harsh criticism at work. Your initial reaction might be anger or defensiveness, but by applying Stoic principles, you pause and reflect. Is this criticism within your control? You can't control the opinions or words of others, but you can control how you interpret them and what actions you take. This mental clarity allows you to respond constructively, turning a potentially stressful situation into an opportunity for growth. Resilience comes not from avoiding challenges, but from mastering your response to them. One of the ways to deepen your understanding of what you can and can't control is through meditation or reflective practice. Each morning, take a few moments to envision your day. Picture the challenges you might face and identify which aspects of those situations are within your control. For example, if you have a difficult meeting, you can't control how others will react, but you can prepare thoroughly and approach the discussion with calm and confidence. This practice, often referred to as premeditation in Stoicism, primes your mind to focus on what matters. It's a powerful way to start the day with intention and clarity. Another area where the dichotomy of control can transform your life is in dealing with regrets. Everyone has moments in their past they wish they could change. Things they've said, decisions they've made, or opportunities they've missed. But dwelling on these regrets serves no purpose, as the past is entirely outside your control. Instead, focus on what you can do now to learn from those experiences and move forward. For example, if you regret a missed career opportunity, ask yourself what steps you can take today to create new opportunities. By redirecting your energy from lamenting the past to shaping the future, you reclaim your power and find peace. The Stoics also teach us the importance of embracing discomfort as a path to growth. Voluntary discomfort, as practiced by Seneca and other Stoics, is a way of training the mind to handle adversity with grace. For example, try fasting for a day, exercising in challenging conditions, or spending time without your usual conveniences. These practices remind you that your well-being is not dependent on external comforts, but on your inner strength and adaptability. By stepping outside your comfort zone intentionally, you prepare yourself to face life's inevitable hardships with resilience and composure. Discomfort becomes less intimidating when you learn to navigate it on your terms. Let's consider how the dichotomy of control applies to achieving long-term goals. Life is full of uncertainties, and the path to your aspirations will rarely be smooth. However, by focusing on what you can control, you can navigate these uncertainties effectively. For instance, if your goal is to save money for a major purchase, you can't control unexpected expenses or changes in the economy, but you can control your spending habits, how much you save each month, and your commitment to the goal. This focus allows you to make steady progress, even when circumstances are less than ideal. Long-term success is built on consistent, controllable actions. Another valuable insight from Stoicism is the idea of aligning your values with your actions. When your actions reflect your core values, you gain a sense of purpose and integrity. For example, if you value honesty, focus on being truthful in your words and actions, even when it's challenging. You can't control how others perceive your honesty, but you can control your commitment to it. This alignment creates a sense of inner peace, as you know you're living authentically. By focusing on what you can control, your own behavior, you strengthen your character and build a life that reflects your true self. The Stoics also remind us to take a broader perspective on life. Often our worries seem overwhelming because we view them in isolation. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the vastness of the universe, reminding himself that his problems were but a tiny part of the whole. This shift in perspective can be profoundly calming. For example, if you're anxious about a work project, consider its place in the grand scheme of things. Will this matter in a year? In 10 years? By zooming out, you gain a sense of proportion and remind yourself that most worries are fleeting. This doesn't diminish their significance, but helps you approach them with a clearer mind. Finally, let's talk about the role of hope and optimism in Stoicism. While the philosophy emphasizes accepting reality, it also encourages us to maintain hope for the future. Hope is not about wishful thinking, but about believing in your ability to act effectively within your sphere of control. For instance, if you're facing a difficult challenge, hope reminds you that you have the strength to persevere and the wisdom to make good decisions. This optimism is grounded in action. It's about trusting that your efforts, no matter how small, can make a difference. By combining hope with a focus on control, you create a mindset that is both realistic and empowering. As we conclude, remember that the dichotomy of control is more than a philosophical idea. It's a guide for living a focused, peaceful, and meaningful life. Each day presents countless opportunities to practice this principle, from how you respond to challenges to how you pursue your goals. By focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you cannot, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and create space for growth and fulfillment. Life is unpredictable, but your response to it is entirely in your hands. Embrace this truth, and you'll discover the profound strength and serenity that comes with it. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who could benefit from this perspective. Comment below with a worry or attachment you're ready to release. We'd love to hear how you're applying Epictetus's wisdom. And don't forget to subscribe to Resilient Wisdom for more insights on Stoic philosophy and practical tools for inner peace.